Welcome, everybody. I have with me a friend of mine who I have known for many, many years. I have with me John Sanks. John, thank you very much for joining me today. It's actually an honor to have you here.
Well, I was thinking the same thing because all I ever see is trumpet players on this. So I'm going, all right, we're getting out of our norm.
Yes. Matter of fact, I am trying to expand out. It's not that I ran out of trumpet players. It's just that there are so many great musicians here in Albuquerque and New Mexico area that I thought it was time to expand out. And you are one of the top ones on my list, I'll have you know, because of all the good work that we have done together. John and I have known each other for many years, and he is been around for as long as I could possibly remember, which we will talk about here in a little bit. But first, let me talk about some of your origins. You're from Montana, and the reason I know that is every summer you go back to Montana and visit. Where in Montana are you from?
Bozeman, Montana, which is the Gallatin Valley, and which is 90 miles from Yellowstone Park. And so needless to say, we went to Yellowstone Park a lot.
It's also home of some really, really good ski areas, by the way.
Yes, it is.
There's a couple, there's one up there that I know of that only opens in the summer, and I can't think of what it's called, but there's one that's only opens from June to August because from October through May, they have too much snow. And I swear it's one of the paths. It could be. It's one of the paths is up there. It's something Pass Park or whatever. But yeah, there's a really cool ski area up there. I'd like to visit in the summer once, just for the fun of it.
I don't know where that would be other than, I know the Beartooth Highway goes into Red Lodge from Wyoming.
Okay.
And every time I go through there in the summer, they have skiing up there.
That would be it then. Yeah. Beautiful area up there. So were you born up in that area? Is that where you were raised? So when did you arrive up there in Bozeman?
About 1966. We went there in junior high.
Okay.
Before that, we lived in Berkeley and Spokane and Salt Lake City.
Oh, okay. So you graduated from high school in Bozeman, and from there you went to Montana State University. Where's Montana State University?
First, I went in the Army.
Oh, I had no idea you were in the Army. So yeah, when were you in the military?
I was in the Army, and I was I enlisted because my draft number was 10.
Oh.
And I didn't want to get drafted because I figured doing 3 years of something I wanted to do was better than 2 years of what they wanted me to do.
So was this was about what year did you end up, were you in the Army?
72.
Oh, so that was right at the end of the conflict, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right getting towards the end, and that was actually the year that they didn't do the draft, and I wouldn't have gotten drafted. But as it turned out, I enlisted, and I was in the Continental Army Band, which was a special band. It was underneath the field band, and automatic rank. And I played in that for 2.5 years, and had a great experience, and actually grew up a lot.
So where were you based out of then?
Fort Monroe, which is on the Chesapeake Bay in Virginia.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a great experience because at least you got to do what you wanted to do, which was play music.
Yeah, it was very good.
Good. Okay, see, I did not know that. You are so hard to find information on. I looked and I'm like, okay, so this is why I was asking you all these great questions. So you did 3 years in the military band, then you went to Montana State.
Right, which is in Bozeman.
Okay. And you majored in music there?
Majored in music ed.
Okay.
And I got my degree in that in 1980.
Okay. So you graduated from Montana State in 1980. So where did you go from there? What happened after that?
Well, I took a break from college for about 6 months because I went on the road with a big band, the Al Pearson Big Band USA.
Cool.
And we played big band dances all the way through the Midwest, from Chicago down to Dallas, and big circle in there. And then we toured Hawaii for a couple of weeks and did dances on every island. And it was a nightly venture and a new town almost every day, which gets old pretty fast.
Yes, I'm very familiar with that concept. So now, when you said, was this after the Army band and before college, or was this after college?
It was, I had just started my student teaching my senior year in college, and I had played a gig with this band when they came through town, and their trombone player left, so they called me and asked me if I wanted to go on the road with them. And I was like 4 weeks into student teaching with my high school band director.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, I said, "Hey, what do you think?" And he said, "Oh, sounds like good to me. And I'd love to go." And then I asked my dad, and my dad said, "No, John, you need to get through your degree and finish school and do the right thing." I went to my mom, and my mom said, "Well, your dad probably said you need to finish your degree and do the right thing." And I said, "Yeah, that's what he said." He said, "If it were me, I'd already be gone." So I left and did that for about 6 months, and then came back, and my high school band director took me again, and I finished my student teaching and finished school. And when I was done with school, I moved to Reno.
Really?
Nevada.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. That's where my brother lives. I know where Reno is. So did you live in Reno or Sparks?
I actually lived on the Mount Rose Highway to Virginia City, which is about 12 miles out of town between Carson City and Reno.
Okay.
We had an acre of land out there and a house, and I drove school buses. Then I drove Greyhounds, and played in Kicks bands, and I played in the Reno Community Band, and got to know, and I also worked on my master's there.
Okay.
Then I got on the Hilton House Band.
Oh, that would have been fun.
And yeah, it's all right.
It paid.
It paid well, and it was fun. It was something I wanted to do. It's like being on the road.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to do, and then I did it, and that was enough. And then I played on the house band, and I did that. And we went on strike, and we all lost our jobs. So
now you work. Where did you get your master's degree? Was that from? That would have been.
I never finished it.
Oh, you never finished it. But what school were you attending? That in
the University of Nevada, Reno.
Okay. How long did you hang out in Reno?
Well, that's when I was. After we lost our job, I was driving Greyhounds and doing tours around Lake Tahoe, and paid the bills. And I said, I've got this teaching degree. I should probably use it. So I applied for some jobs, but what really wasn't in the loop in the Reno area. So I got a job in Montana. So we moved up to Three Forks, Montana, which is population 1,500 back then. I taught K through 12 music, all in one building, and did choir, band, beginning band, and at all levels. And so that was my first teaching job.
So how long did that last?
1 year.
Okay. And then from there, what happened from there? I'm eventually going to get to how and why you came to Albuquerque, but
that is it.
Oh, okay.
From there, because Kent Erickson called me, because Kent Erickson and I, we met in 1972 in the Westwood Jazz Camp in North Dakota.
Okay.
And when I went to college after the Army, I went and saw the band, and here's Kent Erickson playing in band. So then we went to college together.
Oh, okay.
And then he went and got his master's in Illinois and met Bruce Dalby.
Okay, who I have interviewed before. Bruce is a great guy.
Yeah. Well, then Bruce came down to Albuquerque and took over Manzano High School.
Right.
Well, then Jackson Middle School opened up and he called up Kent. And then Kent came down and took over Jackson Middle School.
Okay.
And then a year after that, Rio Grande High School came open and Kent called me. And I came down and interviewed, and my first job here was Rio Grande High School.
Oh, okay. So now we know what brought you to Albuquerque and why. When was that though? When were you
84?
the band? 84. So that was your first teaching position in Albuquerque, was at Rio Grande High School.
Yeah.
So how long were you there before you ended up at El Dorado?
Well, I was at 2 years at Rio, and we had it was really satisfying and good. Kids were good and stuff. With administration and I didn't get along very well. They just didn't want to build the program. And so then I went to Highland High School after that. And I taught there for 6 years. And great job. One of my favorite jobs. And then I thought the grass was greener on the other side. And I went up to Santa Fe and taught for a year. And Santa Fe High School.
Okay, I was about to ask you which high school. So Santa Fe High School you taught for a year.
Yep, and that almost ended my teaching career.
Oh no.
It was not greener on the other side. And it just happened that my principal at Highland, Evelyn Honeymuller, kept on asking if I made the right decision and if I wanted to come back. And I called her up one day in the spring and said, "Hey, is that offer still open? I would love to come back." And she managed to get me back at Highland. And funny story that I came back and I wasn't ever going to leave again. I loved Highland. It was great. But then she announced her retirement in the spring of that year.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran over to talk to her. "Are you really retiring?" And she said, "Yes." She was the best principal I've ever had. Incredible person. And I said, and then she told me who was going to be taking over, and they wanted to go to block scheduling. And I didn't want to do block scheduling at all. So, and Kent had been asking me to interview for El Dorado. And because he fed solely into El Dorado.
Right.
And I said, "No, I can't leave. I can't leave." And then she announced her retirement. And it was on the last day that they were accepting applications at El Dorado. I ran home. I threw my papers together. I ran up to the school and delivered my papers and put in my name for El Dorado on the last day it was open.
And you got it. You got the position.
I finally got it. Yeah.
What year did you take over at El Dorado?
95.
95. So 10 years in Albuquerque teaching in APS before you took over at El Dorado. And then you took over at El Dorado, and that was just, I remember the band program when you were there. It was absolutely phenomenal. The work that you did, the band program that you built there, you literally just built a legacy of music, because the musicians that came out of there, the kids marched for fun. It was a very enjoyable program. I could think of a few kids who were the same age as my son who transferred over to your program because they liked the way you taught better than the school that they were at, which I won't mention who they were. But
You mean I had your son?
No.
Oh.
You didn't have my son. No. No, that's a whole other story. But I just remember all the fun stuff. And I remember going to the bands, like going to the marching programs. My son marched for La Cueva during when you were at El Dorado. And I remember listening to the music, and it wasn't your typical drum and bugle corps, loud in your face. It was fun stuff to listen to. I remember one year you did a big band theme for your marching band, and it was so much fun to listen to, and it looked like the kids were having a blast.
Yeah.
So, and all the jazz programs and the big band programs, you built such a great legacy there at El Dorado. You retired from El Dorado what year?
2013.
Okay. So you had, oh my goodness, you had 95 to 18. Yeah, I was about to say 18 years there. That's quite a bit. You did, when you retired, that was quite the legacy, and people remember you. I know for a fact that people come up and they'll say, I was in your band program, Mr. Sanks, and you'll go, yes, I remember you.
I can't remember names, but I'll look at somebody and go, you were in the clarinet section, weren't you? Yes, I was. Okay, I got one thing right. Now, see if I can.
Well, after all those years of teaching, that everything tends to blur together. I can understand that.
Yes, it does.
I have a few other things I want to talk to you about. So I know as a trombone player, you're quite the accomplished trombone player, because I know you play in the Albuquerque Jazz Orchestra and stuff like that. And you've worn a lot of hats. Besides being a high school band director, you were also the director of the Albuquerque Jazz Orchestra for many years. Is that correct?
That is true.
That was before Bobby took over, and it was after Pancho left, right? So how many years did you work with, were you the director of that?
I did that for 20 years.
Holy crap. I didn't know it was for that long. I was thinking it was only like 7 or 8 years. For 20 years, you were the director of AJO.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you were a high school band director.
Yes. And playing in community band.
Right. And playing, which we're going to get to here in a few minutes, because that was the other thing I was going to talk about. In 1998, while you were doing everything else, you became the conductor of the Albuquerque Concert Band. So how did that come about?
Well, that's kind of an interesting story, because Harold Van Winkle was conducting the band, and then he retired, and then Lee Boyd Montgomery became the director, who was a big name from Texas, and he had moved to Santa Fe in retirement, and he did the band for 2 years, and then said, "No, I'm done." And so now the band was looking for a new director, and they were holding auditions, such as we just did for our assistant director. And Bruce Crokin, who was the band director for the concert band before Harold was.
Okay.
And then he retired. He quit so he could get his degree and stuff. But Bruce and I were best friends, and we were talking, said, we should audition for that position as a team. And I said, well, sure, we can do that. And she said, this would be really neat for us, because and then we could both conduct half of a concert and play half of a concert on every concert. And that we'd have the best of both worlds. So we went ahead and auditioned as a team. And the band voted for us to be the directors. And so then in 2004, very suddenly, Bruce passed away. And then I just took over by myself in January of 2004.
Yeah, and you've been doing it ever since. And I will tell you that of all the conductors I have worked with, you are the most fun to watch. And whether you realize it or not, your facial expressions, and I'm sure you've been told this before, you run the gamut. When we do something wrong, I can see you're unhappy. When we do something right, I can see you're happy. When you're surprised, your facial expressions, whenever you're conducting us, are absolutely awesome. I wanted to tell you that. I've always wanted to tell you that. I never had a chance. It's amazing to work under you in the concert band. Like I said, as on the receiving end of your conductorship, it's always fun to watch you, just so you know.
Well, I do know that I have people do know how I'm feeling at the time. I was conducting El Dorado Band one year at festival, and they got straight ones, but they didn't play the way I wanted them, how we had rehearsed it.
Okay.
And my wife was in the audience with one of the boosters. Oh, that was awesome. Are you going to go up and see your husband? She goes, no, I'm going home. Well, why? I said, oh no, I don't want to talk to him. I can tell he's not happy. And that was from the backside.
Yeah, and it's, and I think it's, to me, just like playing an instrument, being a conductor is the same thing. You have to be able to convey your feelings to your people that you're conducting. And you do it so well, really. And good or bad, I know I can always tell when you're mad at us, because that you get that stern face and you get that stern look of, I know you guys could do better.
Well,
it's awesome.
There is one thing about city band and golfing. It has done wonders for my temper and for my understanding. And don't stay upset long, because then you just ruin everything from then on. Just like the golf game, I'll ruin, I won't be able to hit a ball.
Yep.
And each time something goes not quite right, you just got to go, that wasn't right, darn it. Okay, now let's get on with it.
Yep. Yeah. You got to forget the past and you got to move forward.
Yep.
Exactly. Having played golf with you, I understand that concept. Or you played golf with me, I understand that concept completely. Sometimes it's just, you have to have a short memory, because if you let it dwell and you let it fester, it's just going to get worse.
Right. And in city band, I mean, they're a bunch of adults. They're not high school kids, and they're there to have fun, and they want to play music. And okay, I think that they should know when something's not right, but dwelling on it does no good at all.
I concur completely. So now you have been, for many years, you have been an in-demand clinician and an adjudicator here in New Mexico and the surrounding states. Now that you're retired from El Dorado and such, are you still doing that, or is that something that you've kind of let slip by the wayside?
No, it's still doing some. I probably do more clinicking than doing judging. And frankly, I like doing the clinics far more than doing judging. I've been doing quite a bit more of that.
Okay.
Of going around and helping people like get ready for festival or give comments before marching competitions and stuff like that.
Okay.
And that's a lot of fun.
Well, and now you also play and you perform a lot here in town, because I know you play with the Albuquerque Jazz Orchestra, which I'll put it out there. You guys play the first Tuesday of every month at the Dirty Bourbon from 7 to 9, which is, I go every month. Anyone who isn't aware of it, you guys should go. It's no cover charge and it's great music, and the AJO plays their butts off all the time. So what other groups, let's see, the other day I saw that you played with the New Mexico Philharmonic. You were guesting with them. So who else do you play with? I think I saw you once doing an Entourage jazz thing too.
Well, when lately I've been playing with them when they do their full big band.
Okay.
Well, I play in a rock band.
Really?
It's a kind of a horn band, and we play a lot of Chicago and stuff like that. We're still rehearsing.
Okay.
The pandemic put a big kink in it because one of the lead guitar player and singer who owns a studio here in town is just not ready to get back, and we're hoping to get back pretty soon because we had almost a 2-hour set worked up when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And so let's see, I've got a brass quintet that are playing. Been doing brass quintet for shoot 30 years.
Yeah, I that's one of my favorite things. I love brass quintet. So what else do you do? What else any other groups you play with?
Well, like I said, the occasional gig with the Philharmonic. I am this summer got invited to play with the Great Western Rocky Mountain Brass Band, which plays up in Silverton.
Oh, I've heard about that.
It's a really neat group. People come in from all over the United States, and they rehearse for a week, and
Right.
then they give 2 concerts on Friday, 2 concerts on Saturday, and a concert on Sunday.
And when is that happening?
August 12th, 13th, and 14th up at Silverton.
Yep.
And
that would be a lot of fun.
So this year, one of their trombone players retired. And I got asked to do that. Keith Cochran was actually instrumental in getting me in the group.
So is this brass band have like, does it have percussion, or is it strictly just brass?
It has a percussion section.
Okay. Oh, you're going to love the heck out of that.
I haven't done brass band, and I'm looking forward to that. I had a student, Austin Castaneda, which was Mo Wright's son. He actually went to England to work on his college on euphonium and played in brass bands and went to competitions. And the competitions are wow.
Yeah.
To watch.
Yes, they are. They are absolutely. And you know, usually they'll make everybody play one tune the same, and then you have to play 2 more like in different styles, and the stuff these guys do, oh my goodness, just amazing. Yeah. So we got one more question for you before we wrap this up. Strangest gig you've ever done? I warned you about it before we started, so I'm wondering if you've come up with one.
Well, no, I have a couple, and I did have to search long and hard. Well, first of all, the one that was probably the strangest gig was there was 3 horns and a rhythm section, and we were playing a dance gig someplace, and we're playing along, and all of a sudden we're all resting, and the drummer's just playing, and we're going, wow, this is weird. And so the guy that hired us, who's playing saxophone, said, "What? Is something supposed to be going on here?" "Oh, that's probably the second trumpet solo or the tenor solo." I said, "Well, but where's the trumpet and the tenor?" Or this, and he goes, "Well, I'm using my big band books, but I only pulled out the first alto, first trumpet, and trombone books." And I was just going, well, we have no idea who's got a solo and what's being played. So that was really strange. And we were actually kind of like, I could never do another gig like this again. I mean, all right.
Well, we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank John for joining me today. I thank John for all the things that you do. I love working with you in concert band. I love listening to you in the AJO and all the other work you do. And thank you all very much for listening in today. And we will see you next time.